In this recording, we're going to learn how to graph quadratic functions. So it says here we're going to use the axis of symmetry to make the graph. Well, actually, we're just going to make a table. Okay, and from the table, we're going to be able to get the graph points, and then we'll be able to find the axis of symmetry. So create yourself an XY table. I don't yet know what X values to put in here. So let's get out Desmos again. So could you go to a browser and open up Desmos? It says start graphing. So if you want to watch and then pause and do it on your browser, that would be fine. So we're going to enter this function. Okay, it is a parabola, which we expected, right? There's an x times another x. We can see some characteristics of it. You can see it kind of goes off the screen. I can see some things down here. The nice thing about Desmos is it gives you, I don't know if you can do this on a phone, but you can hover over them with your cursor on a computer, and you can see the turning point and other features of the graph. So let's see if we can identify, maybe answer the questions down below, and then come on back and make the graph itself. Okay, so let's see how much information we have here. So it says identify the zeros of the quadratic. Well, those would be the places where x makes the y 0. So those points look to me like 2 and 3. Those are the x values. So when we're asked for the zeros, we want to state what are those x values that are going to make the y equal to 0. Notice how I don't use parentheses here. It'll look like an x and a y. I use a set brace to show that these are two x values, the set of all the x values. Identify the y-intercept. Well, it's not on my screen. So we can do a little scrolling if we're able. We can scroll up a bit, scroll out. Turns out it's not until we get up to 30 on the y-axis that we find the y-intercept. Okay, so the y-intercept is a point. It has an x of 0 all the time, and the y is whatever it is. So we write it as an x and a y. The axis of symmetry. Well, let's go back and take a peek at that. So maybe what you can do is hit this house here, and it will take you back to a default zoom. It's a little kinder zoom there. So in terms of seeing where the axis of symmetry is, well, it's between 2 and 3. So halfway in between 2 and 3 is 2.5. So the line x equals 2.5 splits that in half. Remember, we always write an axis of symmetry as an x equals equation. Identify the vertex. Well, looks like the vertex here we can identify as 2.5. And when we cursor over it with a computer, it gives us the y value, negative 1.25. And what is the maximum or minimum? Let's have another look. We haven't used that word yet, but as this curve goes down, 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 it hits a minimum y value, and then it starts heading back up. It has no maximum y value because this thing extends towards positive infinity in the y direction. But it does have a minimum point, and so the maximum, we'll circle that. Oh, no, we will not. We will circle a minimum because it is a minimum. And another way to say the minimum is the vertex, if it is a minimum. Okay? If it were a parabola shaped like this, we call a upside down parabola, if you like, it would have a vertex that is a maximum. Okay, but we don't have that, so let's erase it. Finally, let's come back up and make our graph. To make a graph, we need points. You should be using a pencil for this. Now, there's a feature on Desmos that will do this. You can hit this little wheel, and then you can hit Convert to Table. Now, it lists out some y values, but I don't see any symmetry yet. I don't see any repeats, right? So you can put your cursor down on this too, start hitting Enter a couple times. And now we start to see the repetition that we're looking for. So we already have the point 2.5, comma, negative 1.25. And plus I've got the rest of those points there that I can put into my table. And then it repeats. They might say, why did I put down the 30? I just want to see more points there, but of course I can't fit them on the grid that I'm given, so I won't plot those points. Just plot the ones that I can. We'll just do our best to draw a smooth curve. Put arrowheads on that to show that it continues up indefinitely. Let's finish up by just checking some of the characteristics that we identified below. Our zeros, the x values that are going to make the y equal 0. Yep, we've got those. Our y-intercept, well, that's up there. It looks like it's headed towards 0, 30, right? The axis of symmetry, well, where is that? That's right here, splitting our parabola right down the middle where x equals 2.5. And our vertex, well, that's this point down here at 2.5 comma negative 1.25. It's also called the minimum of the graph. Thanks for watching.